Well, here we are, and I have pulled this out. In fact, once it dried, I was able to remove it just by touching the edge and prying it, and it literally offered zero resistance. And you can now see I have real gold gathering in here. This is the first time. See this big section? There are a few others when I look in here that are gathering gold as well, like right here. And clearly, I'm on the right path, and this may yet work. It probably is the case that I was just at the point where it was starting to go well, and I ran out of fuel. So it left me with a ton of borax in it and all kinds of crap. So let's get this going. Once again, and I will attempt to do this without lighting my phone on fire or causing myself any other major traumas. So again, I'm not adding anything. My borax is handy, but I have tons of it in there, and you really want to have as little as possible. I saw on the other side, once I heated it, it came out a very different color than it had before. It's looking entirely black, glassy stuff now. And I didn't see any other colors in it. I didn't see green, which is great, which means I don't have the borax in there still. And I did not see red, which means I've lost a lot of my oxides, which is lovely. Which means really, theoretically, the process is going pretty much exactly like it's supposed to. And now what I'm doing here is removing all this crud. And you can see I'm kind of directing this little bubble that's getting towards the side with my torch and just kind of moving it. And it just reached out and grabbed hold of the side here, which is actually bad. So I'm going to heat this a little and then try and move it, you might think. No, I'm actually going to heat it like this and let it separate from that side on its own. And I find once it cools, it'll just separate anyway. I haven't really had much of a problem with that. But once I add a little borax and stuff and I heat it up and I move it off the side, it'll be all right. But you can see the golden part is there anyway. That's okay. Whatever's sticking to the side is that glass crap. I actually want all that gone anyway. And as long as I don't see any gold in it, I'm okay. Now you see this yellow core coming. This is pretty much my gold. Now I'm not really going to show you this until I finish this process, pull it out and flip it over again for you. And I don't see any gold color in that little black bead right there. So I'm guessing that's just glass and crap, which I can remove from the side of the crucible after. In fact, it's a lot easier to remove it from the side of the crucible after it's cooled. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to let that be there, and I'm actually going to try and separate those two pieces right now. Just keep kind of hitting it and letting it cool, hitting it and letting it cool, and that'll help me to separate out the crap from the goodness. See that? How it bubbled up and kind of separated? I don't want any of this borax in here right now. I'm actually trying to get rid of every single bit of it. And I see a fair bit of it around this edge here. And I want to get every bit of this glowing, glowing red hot, guys. Every single bit. And I do not want to stop until every edge has been at least glowing red hot once in this process. No, I want to try and keep it all hot as much as I can. But now that we've gotten to this point, I'm going to take some of my flux, and I am seeing a really nice color here. Just a pinch. Just enough to barely cover the surface in a very thin coating, guys. Any more than that, and you're using too much, and you saw it rise up there, that's good. I'm just going to flux this. And my flux is, like I said before, I've kept with the same formula for now because it did seem to be working. It's 50% baking soda and 50% borax, guys. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. I'm looking like I could stop at any moment, wait for it to cool, and then flip it. But because there was so much crap on this side, and I don't want that, now's the time where we're actually turning up the temperature a little. And by a little, I mean as little as possible. This torch is incredibly sensitive, guys, so I have to be really careful. But by the time I get this done, It'll probably be right about perfect anyway. And this is looking like a nice good flame here. And now, because I did see so much crap on this side, I am going to hit it again. And you can see the same thing. It slightly expands and rises. You can see it bubble up. That's a good sign. That's a sign that my flux is actually working, and it is generating a removal of junk. Okay? And we want to get this nice and cooked off. All that stuff, we want it cooked off. Now, you'll notice, too, I'll show you after, I have a big fan set up here. And it's working to pull away all of the fumes from this away from me and direct them out to the window next to me. And then I'm going to flip that fan around. Okay, let me see this now. This is actually looking pretty good. I'm going to hit all the edges real hard. And once again, I'm going to try and separate these two balls, which seems to be working. Just going to keep hitting it for a second, then letting it go. Hitting it for a second isn't enough right now, so I need to keep going till that starts to melt. And you can see what I'm talking about there. It's coming away from the side. Hopefully you can see a little bit. If not, I'm going to show you real quick what I've been talking about. So you can see that little bubble on the side. It was making a little bridge attaching itself directly to the wall of this crucible, and that's bad, and I've been able to bring it off of there. You can also see this black glassy substance I've been talking about, and it's all here, and I'll show you what I mean by red hot in a second. You see that? Where it's starting to glow? I want it thoroughly glowing, and then you can start to see the gold content. You can start to see this yellow core. I'm not seeing a bunch of red on top, just the black glass and the molten gold core. That's good. I'm also seeing the gold forming together, which is actually really exciting to see that in the first place. So we're going to close that off. I'm now going to just let it cool, and I will show you guys. Look how fast it cools from a red hot molten blob. And as it cools, you see it starts to look less red and more black. See around the edges? Now, I've been successful at decoupling this from the side of the crucible, which is good. It was right up to here, right at the top here, where you can see all that glassy stuff. Don't forget I had removed all that stuff. But it's coming out of the batch, which is good. That's what I want. The stone is actually doing the work of refining this for me, along with the heat and the flux and all this other stuff. This is like a cupelling process. That's literally what we're doing, is cupelling this. Now, when I look on the surface, I didn't start to see gold last time until it fully cooled. So I'm going to let it fully cool on this side. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to hit it again because I'm still in the middle of removing the borax that I had added last time because I added too much. So let's see if it's ready. See that? Just the tiniest little bit of pressure by hand, and it came out. This is a good sign that I have a good crucible form, and it's working very, very well, because I didn't get any problems at all removing it, and I mean none. Like it comes out so smooth and easy, it's not even funny. If it's stuck to the crucible, you did not treat it properly in the first place when you coated it with borax, which you need to do. There are lots of videos on how to glaze a crucible. Go look one up and apply those principles to your crucible, and you will be fine. That being said, I'm going to continue this process. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Keith out.